Hey up, welcome to the channel, Middies Go Wild. Now, I just wanted to do a little introduction to this video because I never did sort of an outro to the video. That was solely because down at weather, to be honest, it were pretty horrendous. The wind, the rain, the sleet, and all I wanted to do was just sort of get packed up, get me two dogs sort of down from the hills, and I just didn't particularly feel like filming the outro because of that purpose. Really, I just wanted to sort of get down as quickly as possible. Wasn't in any danger, you know. It's not a bad hike up there at Gunnerside, Gill. But yeah, I'd had a pretty much sleepless night. You might be able to tell from last clip I'm not as enthusiastic as I had been throughout the rest of the video. But you know, that's the reality. That's the reality of wild camping. You don't know what the weather's going to be like, even though we've checked it and double checked it. You know, the wind wasn't supposed to be as strong as what it was. The rain wasn't due till midnight, and it started raining about 9:30, and it didn't really stop until sort of 5 o'clock in the morning. And it wasn't what you would call a relaxing wild camp. You know, this was mine and my brother's first wild camp on the channel. I've never filmed it before, and you know, I've never even edited it, so I'm hoping that the video isn't absolute shat. But we shall see once I start doing it. The gear that we had, you know, I had the Cloud Peak 2, and it were a great tent. It kept warm and dry. I never felt in a danger of like the tent were going to collapse, but it was windy, and you know, it were quite nerve-wracking if you're not used to them conditions. You know, the first wild camp that I did with a lad called Josh, a YouTuber that's, you know, he's got a fair amount of subscribers. He actually reached out to his subscribers and asked if anyone would want to go wild camping with him. And I filled a form out that he sent out, and he reached out to me, and it were a great hike. We did a long hike. We got to the camp, and it was spot on. We still had a bit of bad weather, but it wasn't as bad as what me and my brother had on our first wild camp. And you know, it was nerve-wracking, and it could be quite scary to some people, you know, the wind blowing in and what have you. You know, it might not be nothing compared to what other people, other wild campers, you know, are used to. But this were, you know, mine and my brother's first wild camp, and everything it has wind, like I say, hailstone, sleet. But yeah, I just wanted to just sort of explain a couple of bits before the video started. You know, my brother wanted to get a bit more involved in filming. You know, we were both wanted to show us gear, wanted to show what we were cooking. We had steaks, had belly pork, and I just felt that for me it wasn't safe enough to put a stove in the vestibule because of the wind were blowing that much, blowing the tent that much. But that might be just experience, and now just being extra cautious, but I suppose there's not up with that. We had all the right gear, and you know, and it is better to be prepared with the gear. You know, don't go out there thinking it's going to be dry. We had all waterproofs, warm clothes, and you know, change of clothes. So you know, if you do go out on your first wild camp, and you know, the weather is starting to improve now, but just make sure that you are prepared for all circumstances. And if it is a bit windy, it is a bit raining, you know, don't try to wander too far from the car or, you know, civilization, just in case you need to bail. You know, we stuck it out. We didn't felt like we were in danger, but it was pretty nerve-wracking. So I hope you do enjoy the video, and we'll see you on the next one. See you later. Bye. Hey up, and welcome to the channel. I'm Big Middy.
I'm Little Middy.
And these two are furry middies. You probably won't be able to see the other one because he's going that quick. Rodney and Walter. And today we're at Gunnerside. and we are doing our first ever wild camp.
Gunnerside Gill.
Gunnerside Gill. We are heading up Gunnerside Gill about an hour, and we're hoping to camp in some old mining ruins.
I think it's slate mine, isn't it?
Slate mines. And as you go up the Gill, there's old ruins of houses where they used to store the slate and change it and sort it out to be shipped to wherever. Now I do think this has been going since, or should I say going, but actually formed in 1800s at some point. There is information boards that you can look at as you're walking up the Gill. We've parked in Gunnerside. There's like a little donation box that you can put a couple of quid in and what have you. Yeah, so it's about an hour and a half to where we want to camp. Fingers crossed there's no one else there. And once we get there, we'll do some cooking and have a beer. So we'll bring you back as we get a bit closer. See you in a bit. So we're at Sir Francis dressing floor. There's a bit of information. I did say from about 1864, so you can take a little bit of a read of that. But as you can see, some old buildings and dressing floors. It's all different areas, I presume, for different lead and what have you. But it is beautiful countryside. So it's about 5:15 at night. Like I say, we've got about an hour's walk. This packs feel so heavy that budget gear, heavy gear I suppose, since this is the first wild camp. So we're huffing and puffing a little bit. Rodney is eager to move on. I know. It's a bit of a climb now up here, so wind's picking up a little bit. As you can see, there's an old ruin down there, it's just outside the river, and then I think just down there, I think you can just see one of the old mines, like a ventilation shaft on something of it, or maybe even a fuel tank or something. And we have got blue skies in background of us. It's just a bit of a breeze, it's a bit chilly, but walking with these packs on, we're not really feeling it. Hopefully it don't go up too far. I think we're about half an hour away from the campsite.
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's only 47 minutes. But I think
It's a 3-hour walk, not 3 hours, sorry. It's about an hour and a half walk, 3 hours circular. We'll be camping right next to stream or Gill, whatever the correct term is for it. So far we've been pretty lucky with weather. There's a bit of a gust that's coming through, but apart from that, fingers crossed it'll stay dry. So I think we can just see where we want to pitch. Just see. I think somewhere around there. So we're only about 20 minutes away from where we want to pitch. We don't think anybody's there, so brilliant. This is if you ever want to bring your dogs here for a walk and you're worried about livestock, there's no livestock around here, so if you want to let your dog have a bit of a run, you can see for quite a far way in front of you. You know, there's a bit of a stream, so if your dog's like going in water, it's an ideal little walk. It's not too bad, so if you're a novice hiker like me and our kid, it's perfect. You can find the route on all trails, Gunnerside, Gill, circular. It does double back over at top of hills, but we won't be doing that. Not fit enough yet. There is some ruins behind me, but weather's still holding on, so should be okay for a nice night. This way. So we've made it to we've made it to camp. We're surrounded by some old ruin walls, so it'll be really nice and sheltered from wind. So what we're going to do is we're going to pitch his tents up, put a brew on, get some food. I've got to feed these two first. Rodney, do you want some din-dins? Do you want some din-dins? Huh? Do you want some din-dins? Do you want some din-dins, yeah? So that's what we're going to do. Right, we'll bring you back. Where's tents? Where's tents? But when they do that on YouTube, tents appear. Where's tents? Keep trying. By the power of YouTube, we're set up. If we'd have filmed that, you'd have been absolutely peeing yourself. We've had wind, rain, everything, and it's pretty chilly now, but we are having a little beer. Rodney and Walter are tucked up in the tent. It is cold. How do you find that?
I need this after that setup anyway. They don't show you them on YouTube.
They don't show you that on YouTube. It's all nice fancy time lapse with sun going out in the background. That were cold. That were cold, frustrating, windy. Yeah, but we've done it now and we're going to enjoy the night. As long as this rain sort of keeps off, we should enjoy it. I'll bring you back in a bit. Right, so I'm just in the tent because it's peeing it down still. The boys are wrapped up. Walter, nice and warm. Nice and warm. Yep, Rodney's under his blanket. So this won't forecast at all. We were hoping to stay outside and do some cooking, but not yet. Well, hopefully it'll die off soon because it won't forecast, like I said. If not, I'll have to cook in the vestibule with the door open. Should be fun. Or I'll just have some snacks. Can't bother cooking. We shall see. We shall see. It wasn't the evening that we were planned, but that's wild camping and camping in April, I suppose. April is definitely living up to its name. I'll bring you back in a bit. So the weather has been absolute shat. Planned to film myself cooking some steak and belly pork, noodles, but it's just absolutely peed it down for the last hour. We did manage to have a beer or two, but it is what it is. First wild camp. Keep getting gusts of about 20-30 mile an hour, not 100% sure. But the boys are fast asleep, Walter's fast asleep, Rodney's fast asleep, but I am warm and fried. But this is the reality, I suppose, of wild camping in April, and we are quite sheltered, believe it or not, but you know, it is what it is, I suppose. I'll just do that because you can just see reflection from my glasses. But I've had a couple of snacks. I hadn't actually cooked what I brought, but That's life, I suppose. Isn't it, Walter? That's life. But warm and dry, and I suppose that's all that matters. Cheers. Just letting the boys out for a quick pee. Up here, Rodney. Rodney, up here. Come on. Good boy. Good boy. Rodney, this way. This way. God. I think we're sheltered. Can you imagine? People all those years ago, 1800s, been living here. Rodney, this way. Come on. This way. Can you imagine? Look at this. Come on, boys. Walter, this way. Wow. Yeah, the history that this place has got is amazing, and we're camping here 200 odd years later. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to get back in the tent, and if no happens through the night, we shall see you in the morning. It was a bit of an horrendous night, as you could see from the wind and rain clips put on. I didn't get much kip, I didn't do any cooking, it was just blowing too much in the tent for me to do any cooking. But I was actually warm and dry, and these two kept me warm as well. But there is snow on the ground. The wind was just horrendous. It just kept me awake most at night. Managed to get probably about 2 hours sleep, something like that. I had all sorts planned, putting drone up into air and everything, but the weather spoilt that. I don't know how strong the gusts were, but it were bending the tent right in at some point. But I'll bring you back when we're packed up and head back down the Gill.